Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Emily,
I'm Greg.
and today we are going to be doing a review of Un Lun Dun by China Miéville. Miéville? Miéville? How do you... Miéville?
Miéville is
Miéville?
how I've heard him say it.
I can't say words. I'm American.
Well, yeah.
American English is weird.
It's not a common name. Well,
No, it isn't.
He's British, but it looks French.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, this is a portal fantasy. So we kind of found that we were in a little bit of a theme here when we started looking at books that we were interested in reading. And
well, this is the one that started us off on this.
Yeah, this is kind of the one that started it because I had suggested that Greg read this. And then he, right on the front cover, it says it's a hybrid of Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, and The Phantom Toll Booth. None of which that Greg had ever read. So he decided to start reading them and we should probably add these. These are significant to Telltale. So we're going for it. We just dove right into the portal fantasy realm. So Un Lun Dun is just a really, really cute story. Do you want to start off with some info on China for us, or?
I haven't researched too much about him.
He's a contemporary author.
Yeah, he hasn't written anything in like 3 years. I assume he's working on something big, or maybe he's just winding down and not so much interested. I don't know. Whatever he wants to do is his business. But he burst onto the scene in the 90s and won awards right away and just became a superstar. And he is British. And he is a socialist. His most recent novel was about the October Revolution in Russia.
Yes, that was very interesting. I'm
I
very excited to read that.
You have that.
Yeah, I do. I do have that one. I have quite a collection of his stuff. And when you look at this guy, I was really shocked. I had read the book, and then I saw a picture of him on the back cover, and I'm going to put... This guy is he's so punk. Look at this guy. I don't know if you can see him very well. But yeah, he looks real punk.
But yeah, he has a shaved head like a lot of people of his generation.
He's got gauges and tattoos, and he just it was not the picture of the kind of person who wrote this book that I was envisioning at all. Not that you should judge people by their thoughts. But when I saw him, I'm like, oh, China, okay, cool, whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised. But yeah, it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, it really does take all types. And I appreciate that about literature, that people can be so diverse and still have such a diversity in the type of style they write in and the things that they write. So that was a really big surprise for me with him. So yeah.
So the story, it is kind of like a modern retelling of Alice in Wonderland, taking the old story and making it very contemporary, very much cooler than Alice in Wonderland is, and a lot more imaginative. I mean, Alice in Wonderland is a very imaginative story, but Miéville blows it out of the water. He comes up with all kinds of weird things, like a milk carton that is alive and follows...
I love Curdle. Curdle is... Okay, I did not know I could have so much empathy for a piece of trash.
Exactly.
And then it came to life, and Curdle was my little hero. He's also a really talented illustrator.
Yes, he did all the illustrations in the book. I suggest buying a copy of the book, not the e-book, because the ebook doesn't handle the illustrations as nicely as the published book, the paper book does. And the illustrations are part of the experience. And
they really are.
China Miéville did draw them himself. And I love the cover, which was done by somebody else. I forget the name of the illustrator, but I think that's an excellent cover.
It's very dreamy. You get that sense of otherworldliness that I really appreciate.
Well, the illustration and the type, it kind of works together really nicely and creates a beautiful cover.
It really does. It's just a great piece of literature. So the whole premise is this girl and her friends start having these weird encounters with animals and people and stuff, and one day they get swept into this other world, and everybody's calling this girl's friend the Schwazi.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be part of this prophecy where she saves Un Lun Dun, which is the inverse, the mythical, magical part of London. So London's ordinary and kind of weird, and then there's Un Lun Dun that's weirder.
Mm-hmm.
So they get swept into this whole, like, other world only for this other friend to not actually be this Schwazi. So spoiler alert.
But you find it out, like, early on.
Yeah, you find it out, like, within the first few chapters.
And that did kind of blow my mind, that you're expecting the one character to be the primary character, and then all of a sudden
the sidekick becomes the hero.
Gets out of the story, and the sidekick becomes the hero, and
really
goes on, has to try and in that way this becomes a coming of age story.
Yes. So basically she's kind of going to try and, like, take up the responsibility of this prophecy on behalf of her friend who couldn't do it. So she kind of goes into Un Lun Dun and starts, like, following the rabbit trail, so to speak, of the process of fulfilling this thing. And she makes, like, friends with ghosts and has to run away from murderous giraffes and all kinds of, like...
Giant
spiders and, like, the door thing where she's in, like, the house of all doors. And it's really trippy and super fun. The characters are so memorable, including the milk carton. How does that work? So, I mean, it's just a really great story with a good combination of all kinds of, like, really strange, weird creatures and characters. It's just super memorable. And I really enjoyed it a lot.
The imagination in this just is...
The cockatoo, that's a key.
Yeah.
Like, the illustrations are just such a great compliment to it. I'm a sucker for illustrated books, though, for sure.
The imagination to this book, though, is beyond anything you've ever read. This guy is amazing. I started taking interest in China Miéville because I was hearing so much about him, about, you know, The City in the City and other books he wrote. And so she loaned me that one, and I started reading it, and I thought, oh, it's a young adult. I'm not going to like it. No.
Worth it.
I don't care if it is considered to be young adult. It's an amazing book, and you'll love it as an adult.
Yeah. It has a lot of, like... This one was, I think, a really good example of a piece of literature that was written both for, like, young adult kids and adults. Like, this is meant to be enjoyed from middle school up. It doesn't matter who you are. If you enjoy a good fantasy story, you will love this book. This one's a 5 out of 5 for me. 5 out of 5 stars, because it's just so memorable. And it's so well designed, too. Like, the illustrations complement everything. Everything makes sense, despite how nonsensical the world is. They, like, they can explain it away like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so much plausible deniability, you don't even question it. You're just like, okay, giant flies, transportation, sweet.
So now we need somebody young, like a young Tim Burton style director, to turn this into a movie. That would be so mind-blowing.
Please make this a movie, and if you kill it like they killed Artemis Fowl, somebody's gonna get it from me.
Well, don't let Disney do it.
So mad. Anyway, Artemis Fowl's great, by the way. But yeah, this is a great book. Really enjoyed this one. Like,
yeah, it definitely surprised me. I wasn't
so
expecting
original
to like it, even though I was taking an interest in Miéville. I was kind of expecting it would just be okay, and it's become a new favorite. It's an amazing book. Yeah,
he has such a unique perspective on life and childhood, especially. Like, he doesn't... how's a good way to put this? Kids often find themselves in adult situations that they just have... That's just life. And this is a really good portal fantasy where you have this kid who's really encountering a lot of very adult situations that are also very foreign in this other world. She has no context whatsoever. She's just trusting the kindness of strangers, basically, and a milk carton and a half ghost, and trying not to get murdered by murderous giraffes. So, I mean, this is just a really fun story. I can't tell people I love this story so much.
And
I read this in college is when I first picked this up.
Okay.
And I'm a sucker for young adult books, but this is so nicely and well put together that the complexities don't make it feel like this is really a kid's story at all.
No.
It's a really nice one.
It's a thick book. It's over 400 pages, but very well written and so engaging, so engrossing that you're going to find yourself reading through it very fast.
Yes. It's also pretty large type. And a lot of the reason I think it is so many pages, too, is because they're also incorporating illustration. So,
illustrations.
Yeah, so it's not... It's really not a long read. It looks intimidating, but it's not.
But it's still probably 3 times as long as Alice in Wonderland or Wizard of Oz.
Yes, it is. But, I mean, it's like, what, a 3-4-parter? I think it's a 4-part. Because you end up in different realms. Okay, maybe more than that.
Okay, part 8.
Part 8. Yeah, just condensed a lot of parts together.
But, you know, when you look at it, it looks like a huge book. But,
yeah.
And it is 400-some pages the way it's done. Like she said, it is large type. There are illustrations, but still, it's not a short book.
Yeah.
But it's going to feel short because you're going to find yourself flying through it.
Yeah, the action is very consistent. Like, there are not a lot of lulls in this book at all.
Down.
No, it is very compelling because you want to know what happens next because they're encountering so many unusual circumstances, characters, creatures, things like that. You want to know what's next. So you will not regret reading this, for sure. This is one of my favorite books of all time. If I could do another... I should do like a top 1,000 books because honestly, I have so many that are just amazing by really great authors.
Telltale Top Tales list.
Seriously,
if
like...
this is on it, we're going to add more.
Yep. So this is...
It's not a top 100. I think we're already at like 164 or something like that. It's already getting to be a big list, and there's so much that isn't on it.
I know. We're just getting started. We're missing a lot, but yeah, this one made it for us, so give it a check out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It's definitely a classic.
Yeah, and I've been in several states looking for books, and this has been a book that is pretty consistently in libraries. So if you can't buy it, find a version of it at your local library because this is a pretty significant book. This was an instant classic, and just about every library I've ever been to has a copy of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's all I've got to say. Like, subscribe, let us know what you thought of it. If you have any others or love this author in particular, let us know. We love interacting with you.
Yeah, I want to explore more of his work.
Yeah, he's very unique voice in literature, and I would read anything by him just to know what his thoughts are on this particular storyline and things like that. So, so like, subscribe, let us know what you think, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.